Hello, my mimics, and welcome back to the Mimic Commentary, episode 48, double remix, ultra deluxe, special edition, double whammy, no whammy, Mimic Commentary. If you don't follow my community posts, if you're not watching this live as I create and air them, you might not be aware of the mishaps and misfortunes I've been having when it comes to recording. The first time I did episode 46, my hard drive filled up, and what do you call it? The video file got corrupted. So I had all this audio, and no video. All right. So then I just like go through. I'm like, I'll just give you a recap of what we did in episode 46. Then I did episode 47. Awesome episode. Probably one of the most fun I've had filming a Mimic Commentary episode, maybe ever, because of just the lore that we did. And my microphone didn't record me talking. It recorded what do you call it? It recorded the game audio. So I had all this video and no audio. Okay, so then I was going to film something else. I was going to film a live reaction of of episode 47. I have it done. Let me just go over the footage and we'll talk about it. I tried to do that. Kyra, she was being a little girl, and she did not want me to record. So I just got very frustrated, and then I just gave up. And since it's been such a struggle, this episode is going to be the struggler himself. You can see that he's got the crown of Miquella, the Circle of Light. So he's gone through New Game Plus. He's got all of these items. All right, he knows a lot. Okay, this version of the Mimic, he's got a lot of information on him. So we're not going to be playing our games. We're just going to be looking at our stuff, and I'm going to be talking about what we're finding and just related to the whole game. So here we go. We're in Stillwater Cave, right beneath Stormvale Castle. Most likely Malenia's army. They march from the Halig Tree. Down through the Forbidden Lands, through Altus, then most likely down here. They go past the Academy, on the highway, through Limgrave to Caelid to fight Radahn. That's their army marches a very long way. But on their way, they stop at the Stillwater Cave, and they make camp. And they got some camp followers. They got some mushroom men. I'm thinking these guys came afterwards. Some of Malenia's rotten poison is left behind. This place starts getting a little bit funky. These guys move in. Some of the people that move in are sages. We think of Sage Gowry. Here is, another one of his flock, another one of his priests, one of his preachers, a burgundy pointed hood, attire of the wise sages who were deemed heretical, evidence that the wearer was driven from town. So we have sages all across the lands between. We have these sages all across the lands between who hang out in armies, who hang out in towns, who hang out probably in cities, and do things like spread the religion of rot. Now, since this is Malenia's army that is marching southward, Malenia is no friend of Radahn. She's no friend of Godric. She's no friend of Morgott. And she's no friend of Rykard's. Why would Malenia be a friend of Rykard's? So we have some assassins following Malenia's army. Rykard's assassins. Serpent arrow carved to resemble a flying snake, used in tandem with the serpent bow. Loyal minions of the formless serpents, their fangs are dubbed with deadly poison. Let's look at the serpent's bow. I think we have the serpent's bow on this character, right? I hope I do. Oh, maybe this guy doesn't have the serpent's bow. Oh yeah, this version didn't do everything. This was a Shadow of the Erd Tree character, I think. Yeah, this guy doesn't have everything, so can't read the serpent's bow. But I deduce, we'll do this in the theorizing when we get to it, but I deduce that the formless serpents, most like loyal minions of the formless serpents. So I imagine that the formless serpent is a religion or an assassin's group, but they're tied together. The great serpent is worship, so this is kind of like the assassins of the great serpent. And they're obviously following Melania and her army because not a fan of Melania, not a fan of Miquella. Rykard, obviously. Not a fan of them. You know, Rykard's alliance during the Shattering is he's allied with Radahn. He's allied with Ranni, even though Ranni is dead. Rykard knows that she's not actually dead. Like, people think she's dead or missing. Rykard knows Ranni's not missing. So then, you know. And if Rykard knows Ranni's not missing, Radahn knows Ranni's not missing. So we got the Karian kids all hanging out together. And they're not fans of Miquella and Melania. You know, they're, even though Radahn has this vow with Miquella, I don't think that's really a binding one. And in any case, you know, we think of this game is inspired by Nordic mythology. Melania is supposed to represent she's a Valkyrie, like she's described as a Valkyrie. So, you know, she is supposed to kill him and take a vow. You know, part of that vow is like, yeah, if you die in combat, I vow that one day you will come back as a lord, and you'll be just like your dad, and you'll be just like Godfrey. So, you know, Radahn's like, okay, yeah, I love fighting, big Colosseum dude. You know, that's his pastime. He loves a good brawl. He loves watching people die in the glory of combat. And yeah, why wouldn't he take that vow? You know, it's a win-win. If he dies in combat, well, he died an honorable warrior's death. And if he doesn't die in combat, well, then he got to fight Blade of Miquella, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you know, the vow stuff. That's easy answers. I don't know why that's like a confusing question. I don't think people understand the characters in Elden Ring that well. I don't think a lot of people are able to, like, I don't know. Like, people read all these item descriptions and, like, they don't understand the characters or their motivations. And I think that leads to bad lore analysis. I think that leads to very bad lore analysis. Because unlike, we got one of Melania's knights, unlike the other Fromsoft games, the characters aren't really given that much personality. But since this is a game that was co-written by George R. R. Martin, the personalities of these characters are just like, I don't know, there's so much depth to them. It's like Radahn's a little cartoonish. Radahn probably has the least amount of depth out of all the characters, but like that's like kind of on purpose. Like Rykard is a very complex character. Ranni's very complex. Miquella is very complex. But Radahn really isn't that complicated. And also like just not that interesting as a character. Like, he doesn't really have any struggle or anything. He kind of like just gets everything he wants and everybody likes him. And that's kind of like, he's kind of like a boring character. Like, he's cool, I guess, but like, he's cool for like, I don't know, I think like, he's like, you know, children and frat bros probably think Radahn is the coolest character. No offense to the frat bros who like Elden Ring. You know, that's good. You know, Radahn, it's okay to like him. I just don't think he's that complicated. All right, who we got here? Oh, yeah, we're not doing any Millencarney stuff. These are Wraith Callers. They are old Sunrealm people. I think so. They're Sunrealm aligned. I don't know if they're fully integrated into the Sunrealm. The reason I think they're Sunrealm was because of the Royal Revenants. Oh, do I have any... I don't have any spells on me. You know, these guys get hurt by Erd Tree healing because they're ghosts. They're cursed ghosts. I think it's the Wraith Calling Bell. I don't know if we actually have the Wraith Calling Bell on us. Anyway, yeah. I tie them into being Sunrealm because we find a ton of them at the Shaded Castle. They're all in Liurnia. We'll find them in the Lunar Estate. And, you know, when we... Do I have the... I don't have any Eclipse stuff on me, do I? Oh, I do. Yeah, okay. Can I do this without rolling? Yeah, we could show this off. So, the Eclipse is the sun and the moon coming together. Yeah, I read that as an alliance. Like, the image on the shield is not supposed to be representing a literal eclipse, but the union of the sun and the moon. I think in 2 episodes ago, we looked at the sigil for the... Academy, And we can kind of see it here. At the top, we get the black moon. And then in the middle, we get, like, I think is a meteor. And then at the bottom, we get the sun. Or that could, in the middle, could just been a generic star. But, yeah, an alliance between the sun and the moon. Oh, also the Ice Rhine Hatchet. Do I have that on this character? I don't think I have the... Oh, no, I do. Okay. A hatchet with frost-coated blade, one of the several gifts from Castle Sol in the distant north. This is found in Liurnia. So that's how I tie the Sun Realm together. So Castle Sol is obviously Castle of the Sun, and they're sharing gifts with the Academy or the Carians, which are related to the night and the sky and the moon and the stars. So a hatchet with frost-coated blade, one of several gifts, Castle Sol, known as Freezing Fog. The blade was thought to be a dragon scale. So the people of Castle Sol, people of the Sun Realm, the Banished Knights, the dragon worshippers, they get a scale from one of the low-born dragons, because the Banished Knights, the Sun Realm, is ancient dragon worship. So they get a scale from one of the modern dragons, one of the part of Baal's brood, and they gift it to the Academy or the Carians in an alliance. So we're seeing that pass down of the Sun Realm and the people of the Moon, the Carians, in an alliance together. So that's how I'm tying these guys to being Sun Realm, and they're in Liurnia, so that makes sense why they would be here. These guys are royal revenants, so they're royal ghosts. They're ghost because of the revenant thing. They're royal, so we have to think of what kingdom that could they be from. Sun Realm, I initially thought they were Sun Realm because of the Shaded Castle, because you find them at the Shaded Castle, and that's a Sun Realm castle. But in the DLC, when we get the Tibia cookbook, which one's that? Yeah, in Tibia's cookbook, record of crafting techniques of the mariners, the oldest gravekeepers, Call of Tibia. To get that, you have to fight a Tibia mariner who summons a royal revenant. We find the Tibia mariner boats within the Shadow Keep. We find... What else do we got for that? The Tibia mariners resurrect Sunrealm soldiers. What else do they do? Yeah, and then those who live in death are all Sunrealm people. So it makes sense to why Godwyn and Lonnie would possibly have a marriage, because Godwyn is he's Sunrealm related. You know, he is friends with... He fought against the dragons when they invaded, but he befriends them. So the ancient dragons try to take back their kingdom. You know, this is not Erd Tree Central over here. Not everybody likes the Erd Tree. You know, literally everybody wants you to burn it down. So nobody likes this tree. Godwyn is supposed to be a tree boy, but he's got ties to the ancient dragons. He likes the ancient dragons a lot. So he likes the Sun Realm. And we can kind of understand why he would fall for doing a Knight of the Black Knives plot. He might not have known what Ronnie was gonna do, but Ronnie may have told him hey Godwyn, why don't you if you want to bring back the Sun Realm, you got to get killed to destined death. Oh, let's pick up some Trina lilies. What does Trina want to see? She wants you to see all the lore I'm giving you. She wants to see all the lore. Speaking of Trina lilies, since it's a special episode, we're just giving you the lore straight up before we start building it again for our big reveals. Anytime we see nascent butterflies, I will, even though I do this in previous episodes, I'm always going to say they're St. Trina. I don't think they're Miquella's butterflies. Wraith Calling Bell. Oh, since it just went into my pocket because I already have one. That's going to talk about the Royal Revenants. Yeah, whatever. We don't need it. This is Mimic Commentary Ultra Deluxe. This, Last Year Ruins, Sun Realm. Purified Rooms, probably also Sun Realm. Let's see what's going on over there. I gotta be doing this episode quick. I gotta be giving you just the lore, just straight into your veins. We're not playing any games here. We are just going straight for what's the deal with Elden Ring, what's happening. Update. I was going to make that Radahn video. I posted a community post about it. but I can't do videos on Radahn yet because it doesn't align with my healing and my channel. I do my channel based on the ASCA stages and steps, the 21 stages and steps for healing, and it goes into 3 stages. Stage 1 is healing, or stage 1 is mourning. No, goodness. Stage 1 is remembering. Stage 2 is mourning, and stage 3 is healing. And I've only started doing some like of my morning work. I'm not. Oh, I didn't know that was crap. I'm not like really there yet. Like mostly all of my videos so far are like remembering-esque. There's a little bit of mourning in there. There's a little bit of healing. You know, you when in recovery, in ASCA recovery, for like trauma recovery, you kind of go up and down the stages and steps. It's not like Alcoholics Anonymous or something where, you know, you everything has to be done in order. Trauma recovery is, you know, it's all over the place. So most of my videos are remembering themed. Even the Black Swordsman saga, they're all framed around him trying to remember his journey and trying to see what happened on his path. So I have to do morning's work. Morning work that's hard. It's probably it's the hardest part. You know, the remembering is hard because of the triggering. Getting triggered is really tough. But the morning is like, I have to really feel my feelings and emotions, and like feel them very deeply. A lot of things that are repressed, not just repressed memories, but repressed feelings. And that's really, really hard. So I'm trying to figure out how I can make YouTube videos that will be successful and entertaining, that also help me in that way. Like I can't do a Radahn video where I compare him to all of the Song of Ice and Fire characters and stuff like that, because that's too fun and whimsical, and I just don't feel it right now. Like I don't feel motivated to feel that way. So my next video is going to be about Mesmer, because I think Mesmer is the perfect character to write about to get those feelings. So I'm going to be trying to write a script about Mesmer, and that's what's coming up to the channel for big, you know, major videos. Like, you know, I have a lot of stuff. Device is going to die. You know, I don't get stuck with not making videos because I have no ideas or I don't have any theories. I get stuck because of motivation and just my mental health and how I'm feeling. So we're going to try and work on Mesmer. So we don't go crazy. So we don't go absolutely mad with the Flame of Frenzy and, you know, talk about, you know, you know what the Flame of Frenzy represents. You know, what do you got to do? What do you got to do to become the Lord of Frenzy?
Hello?
All right. Anyway, enough rambling.
Someone there.
I'm here.
Would you donate any Shabiri grapes in your possession to me? I'm on a pilgrimage in search of the distant light. And when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the light in the back of my eyes.
Okay, so resurrected Arena as Hayeta, our America stand-in, is being seduced by fingers. Okay, so we were talking that she might be America, and if she is America stand-in, then we're watching this blinded woman using her faith to search for the distant light. She's searching for a light, and she's searching for a light, being guided by the fingers, and it's not going to turn out too good for her. And I think of, you know, the Minor Erd Tree. This is like Hayeta searching for the distant light of the frenzied Three Fingers. This is kind of like Marika searching for the distant light of like the Erd Tree, the illusory Erd Tree, you know, the Minor Erd Tree stuff. So that's just that's where I think that parallel is coming in. Come out, one and all, from the darkness underground, and let us offer unto the maiden our eyes. Oh, so he's crazy. And we give him voices. So what's going on here? This is the Purified Ruins. And what was it purified from? It's purified from Flame of Frenzy, you know, because it's contagious. When one person goes crazy, a lot of other people go crazy too. So the Knights of the Cuckoo show up, and they killed all these commoners who were either because they were frenzied or because they're just like two-finger worshippers or three-finger worshippers. Or just, I guess, finger worshippers. These guys might not have been maddened, but since it's the Purified Ruins, I'm thinking it's madness. Although we don't see any of the We don't see any of the, like, eyes of yellow. So, what could be going on here, and the reason why I say this is because we have to go underground. That ghost was yelling about going underground. One of our Shibiri grapes. So someone was maddened here, and they plucked out their eye. But the reason I said going underground is we have a 2 fingers heirloom. Fingers cannot speak, yet these were eloquent. Persistently did they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus do we gain the words of our faith. So why is it underground? Well, it's an underground religion, but also mushrooms. These mushrooms are probably growing underground. One of the things I think a lot of people miss is that the 2 fingers on top of the divine towers, the 2 fingers in the round table hold, those are not real 2 fingers. They're literally finger mimics. They are people who consumed a fingerprint nostrum. Where is it? Do I have any fingerprint nostrums? I gotta craft one. Okay. Actually, this is good. So crafting a fingerprint nostrum. You need dew gems. So this is the OG, what do you call it? Dew-kissed herba. Dew gems are the OG dew-kissed herba, but this is actually, it's really fun. Okay, so we have, to make a fingerprint nostrum, which boosts your mind, intelligence, faith, and arcane, you need dew gems. So it's the original dew-kissed herba. Dew-kissed herba is trying to be a copy of a dew gem, and to do that, it mimics herba, and then it gets coated in starlight. So that's fun. That's how they're doing that type of mimicry. Then you need a beast horn. Inside of the beast horn, it's suffused with spirituality because it's crucible. If something has a lot of crucible in it, you'll start seeing spirits manifesting in it or through it. Crucible power, like the blood of the crucible, is how you're getting like spirits inside of like bodies. Like, for example, the Omen are haunted by nightmares because they have like crucible blood. There's like evil cursed spirits inside of the Omens, thanks to their horns. We learn from that the bell, the Wraith calling bell, that it's the spirits of people who died when cursed. That's what makes a Wraith. It's the same color that the Omens, the fire that they spew out. And we learn from the Horn-Sent Grandma that it is the curse of the Omen for the attack on the Horn-Sent. So, because essentially Omen are just Horn-Sent children whose horns are haunted, if that makes sense. If you look at like the Omen Baron, here, do I have all the Barons? I should at least have. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. So this is the Omen Baron. This is the Omen babies who has their horns excised. The Erdtree royalty who don't have their horns excised. And then this is the Horn Baron, which is tangled horns are a symbol of spirituality, but most young born bearing the oversized horns meet a frightfully early demise. These fetishes are made to memorialize them. So what this tells us is that anyone who is born of an Omen is Horn-Sent descent, okay? And that means their royalty, the ones who don't have their horns cut off are the ones who are, they have crucible in their bloods. They're of the Horn-Sent lineage. We see so many Horn-Sent with horns coming out of their skulls. That's just like what those people look like. That's their, essentially their race. Being Horn-Sent is a race. But the race is just people who are near a lot of crucible energy, and they're just growing horns because of it. So this region, the Horn-Sent are an ethnic group that have a genetics that can pass down, and Moog and Morgott are, have Horn-Sent genetics.
Hello?
So
Is someone there?
we tie it, I tie it to Godfrey, who has the Horn-Sent DNA, because he fights against bears, and we find that in the Red Bear region. We find all of Godfrey's armor and stuff like that. What's it called? The Highland armor and things of that nature. And Godfrey literally wrestles you like a bear, and he roars like a bear. So we know he wrestles bears. Bear Witness is also a joke in the game.
Rest their trembling hands upon me. Howling wordlessly, they gently stroke my eyes, their frail fingers emaciated. Yet still, They give me the grapes, but you seem somehow firmer.
That's because we're not crazy. We're a little crazy, but not that crazy. And since, all right, back to Hornsen stuff and Sunrealm things. When we think of the endings to the game, we have the Fire and Ice endings. You have, Flame of Frenzy, destroy the whole world in fire. Dark Moon ending, encase it in ice, so you have your ice and fire. The reason why it's being encased in ice is because the Dark Moon is a silver tear it's a silver tear mimicking the moon, and it's very cold. And if you're going to put the Elden Ring into a giant silver tear, into a giant mimic of the moon, it's going to get very cold. So it controls the nature of everything. Lands Between gets very cold. That leaves us with our Elden Throne endings. And in the Elden Throne endings, you're essentially choosing which political system you want to control the world. It has, like, the metaphysical stuff. Like, if you... what do you call it? If you go with Fia's ending, essentially it embeds those who live in death into order. But that just means you're getting a bunch of Sunrealm people. Like, those who live in death are like Sunrealm people, and that's who's going to control it. If you choose Dung Eater's ending, it's the Hornsen ending. You're choosing, Dung Eater doesn't have Omen horns, but he still has a bunch of cursed spirits within him, mostly from his... when you summon him, I think his Ash of War does it too, but when you fight him, Wraiths can spawn out of him when he does his Ash of War. So he's cursed, but he doesn't have enough Crucible energy in him. He doesn't have the Crucible runes to have Omen horns. Because, what's part of the Omen horns is that it's essentially the runes that are giving them the power. That's why Dung Eater doesn't have any horns. He doesn't have grace, so he can't get the horns. We know that the Crucible has its own separate rune. So, we know this, right? That all of the runes come from the Elden Ring. These are all part of the Elden Ring. That's where runes come from. Well, not just that, but it comes from people who have Crucible in them as well, not pieces of the Elden Ring. Maybe I should step back. I don't know if people know that runes are part... I don't know. You guys, like that's common knowledge that runes are part of the Elden Ring. I don't know if it's, talked before. Like, these are pieces of the Elden Ring. And how do the Hornsen have pieces of the Elden Ring? I think this is where the question that I'm trying to get at. When you fight the Hornsen and they give you runes, where did those runes come from? Is it because they shattered the Elden Ring? Or is it because when the Elden Ring was shattered, everyone started getting runes? Well, we know that's not the case, because people had runes before the Elden Ring was shattered. That when people were born at the foot of the Erd Tree, they were blessed. You just look at the story that the runes give you. You learn, here, those born at the foot of the Erd Tree are blessed, and so they have runes. And it's all in their eyes. Okay, we know this. In the Shadow Realms, they get these runes. These are even better runes. In a lord in the Lands Between would have 50,000 runes. But an unsung hero in the Realm of Shadow, a great warrior who is blessed by the Erd Tree to be not honored in death, he has as much runes as a lord. But if you look at the color of these things, very gold. A lot of gold in these. Gold and black. Gold and shadow. This kind of tinted red. They're mostly gold until you get to Newman's runes. Then you get a little more red tint in them. And we know that the primal vital energy of the Erd Tree was the Crucible. Bim, bap, boom. Why do Crucible people have runes? I think it is... It's passed down. Oh, God. This is where all the genetic stuff comes in. They are all descendants of the Newman. Yeah. Where is the Newman's rune? Okay. The Newman, long-lived eternal beings. They come from outside the Lands Between, essentially space aliens. Marika is an eternal. She's a Newman, but everybody's got a little Newman in them. Everybody's got a little of that divine blood. Everybody's just got a little bit of it. Even the animals have it. Isn't that wild? So yeah, that's that. It's silly. It's silly stuff. This marks Millennia's southward march. The blade of Miquella and her Green Knights grant her wings never be clipped. Yeah, as we're saying, travel down the road. down here, pass this way, attack Radahn. But she gets attacked by Godric right here, because that's where the Stone Sword Monument is, and he loses, which shows how great Melania is or how bad Godric is, because he had a castle, and then he had a gate front, and then he still kicked her ass. Or he still got his ass kicked. By a girl. Ay, ay, ay. This episode's all over the place because I feel unfiltered. I need the mimic commentary rules. Otherwise, I just like, you know, we start rambling, and then I get to a point. This is something Kate has told me I do all the time. Kate the Kind, if you've seen her before, she's, you know, my friend. She comments a lot. She says, Jack will say something so profound about Elden Ring, and then he'll go, yeah, but it's stupid, who cares? Because I get to the point where it's like, I like, you know, the root, like I tie all my theories together, and I think they make logical, consistent sense, but then I go to like, yeah, you know, everyone has a little bit of Newman DNA in them, and that just like, it's just like, I don't know, it just seems so out there. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever, it's stupid. Because it is kind of dumb. It's silly. But that's how George R. R. Martin writes his books. We got the Vulgar Militia here. Why are the Vulgar Militia guarding this catacomb? Do I have their armor? I don't know if I have their armor. Or their doofy hats. I got them in the original filming of this. I got, like, all of their items. And I was able to talk a lot. Oh, I do have it. Okay. Freshly singed battlegrounds effusing with the stench of the dead, forbidden lands that will be excised from the memory of history. That's the realm of shadow. This is where the Vulgar Militia serve as untiring, unsung watchkeepers. That line unsung again. Well, they're out here, not in the land of shadow, guarding this catacomb. So whoever hired them has something they don't want us to see. Now, this is the Cliffbottom catacombs on the very opposite side of the Stormfoot catacombs. I think, look at that. I think that's supposed to be a mirror. They're supposed to be mirroring each other there. I think it's a little joke. A little mimicry. This is a fake. This is, oh, where are you guarding this? Guarding this guy in the chest. Even the Vulgar Militia are guarding the dead guys. Okay, so if you don't remember what this catacomb is, I'll give you a hint. Look what this guy's holding. That's right. Mimic Somber Stones. And let's face the direction he's facing. Bum, bum, bum. Boom. He's looking directly towards Nokron. Isn't that interesting? So either he's allied with Ronnie and he's trying to get to Nokron, or he's a mimic and he's looking towards Nokron. Or maybe he's just a regular Academy guy. There's no mimicry going on. He's not really holding a mimic stone. He's not really looking towards Nokron. It's all your imagination. It's all your imagination. Hey, let's do something funny. Let's do something funny for this one. Okay. So we got our Griffith helmet on. We're in our guts armor in the Cliffbottom catacombs, but we're wearing Griffith's prison helmet. Isn't it funny? That the prisoner's helmet is a copy of the prisoner's helmet from Berserk? That it's a copy. Okay. We're playing jokes here. I'm doing big reveals because I don't know if you guys know what's in this dungeon. If you know what the reward is for this catacomb. But so far we're saying that this catacomb might not be a real catacomb. This could be a fake one. This could have been made specifically because it is false. You know what I'm saying? Like, this place wasn't dug out and created to actually do Erdtree burial. Maybe it was, but it definitely was taken over. But I'm going to say that it was created for this. And look at that. We have one of our omens on the other side. Speaking of omens. Speaking of horn scent. So we have someone of horn scent descent in this catacomb. And we got another one down there. So is it guarding? Are the Vulgar Militia guarding this place because they are allies of the horn scent? They're hired by the Omen, who are horn scent? Well, most likely not, because the Omen are prisoners. They're imprisoned. They're people who have horn scent DNA, but they don't have any political power. This place, look at that. We have a banner, red banner. What does that look like? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what that looks like. This guy's having nightmares. Again, he has the cursed spirits, the cursed omen spirits, the cursed horn scent spirits, giving him nightmares. We can also see this is the Crucible regression in action. Morgoth and Moog each, and the Sculpted Keepers have 5 toes, 5 fingers, but the Omen have 4 toes and 4 fingers. So a lot of regression going on here. Got our Grave Glovewort. A few episodes ago, we were in the Schiefer River, and there was no Grave Glovewort in the Schiefer River. Only Ghost Glovewort. Alright, so I think, since we're finding books here, there's people studying something. Maybe studying the Shattered Elden Ring. Maybe this place is newer than we think. Maybe this is a base of operation that only came up after the shattering of the Elden Ring. That's possible. But I think, I'm going to think it's older. I think it's older. So they have books. This place is being guarded by Omen. It's being guarded by the Vulgar Militia. It's being guarded by these golems. Actually, since we have the golems here, I should use the crystal darts on them. Crystals are, they used, Glintstone houses the soul and stuff. So we use soul magic. Oh, not that. That's also kind of, maybe that's soul magic too. So we use a little bit of soul magic, and we can turn these machines haywire. So the catacombs got, I know this isn't all the catacombs, but who knows how to manipulate soul magic? Hey, look at that, the Knox. Okay, so we're going to take off our Griffith helm, our Mimic Griffith helmet from the Manga Berserk, and we're going to put on the Knox mirror helm. Look at that. That's a little segue there. We're seeing a little evolution. Who the mimics might be. Now, if you wanna know why, I think the prisoner also. The prisoner is actually a really interesting class. The prisoner. I want you guys to look up where you buy his armor. How do you get his armor if you don't start as him? But if you start as a prisoner, the prisoner has a Carian glintstone magic, so he's a Carian prisoner. He's a tarnished of Carian descent who is imprisoned. And I think in episode 45, we talk about how the astrologers are like the descendants of the Academy, essentially. So the prisoner starting class is the Carian aligned tarnished. And he kind of looks like a mimic. Like they sent the mimic out in the world. Because the Knox mirror helm... Oh, speaking... Let's read the item. Knox mirror helm. Helm fashioned from a crystal looking ball. Helm fashioned from a crystal looking glass, so it's supposed to look reflective. It's supposed to look like a mirror. One among the Eternal City's ritual implements. Worn by those committed to high treason, it warns off the intervention of the Greater Will in its vassal fingers. And it looks kind of like this. Also, all very mirrors. This is supposed to be a mirror as well. You're supposed to look at this and see yourself. That's what happens when you look at a mimic. You see what you want to see. How are we supposed to get over there? The big lore thing that we get from this... Oh, wait. Here. Oh, he saw me. So this guy was praying to the spirits. Very, very shaman. Very shaman-esque. Praying to spirits. Here, in the catacombs, we see that the sprites are flying around the Ghost Glovewort. But in the... Schiefer River, it is the ancestral followers are the sprites. Like, they're the spirits that are being summoned by the Glovewort. That's why we find them in the lower half and not in the upper half, because that's where their dead go. The dead in, like, if we think of ancestor spirits culture, it's very similar to the shaman culture, and every culture in the lands between is derived from Newman culture and America's people. So the water burial is in Schiefer River. This is where the living are. The living are all up here. When they die, their souls go on the river. This guy, he has low health because it's supposed to be a joke that he ran into the trap. So, this is where it's kind of like, I don't know, Elden Ring lore gets it's really easy. You just look at what's there and you just have to I don't know, it's just the same thing over and over again. I don't know. I think that's so easy to say that there's enough evidence to say that the ancestral followers are doing shaman culture, and then everything is just derivative of the shamans. They're all tree people, they're long-lived, they're seldom born, they come from outer space. So it's just like everything is derivative of this alien culture. Like that's the Elden Ring lore, and you just do that over and over and over again. What is he praying to? He's praying to a hooded woman with a book. The only person who I know who wears hoods and has a book is Radahn. This must be the omen praying at an altar for America, because America is Radahn. Radahn is America. Look at that. And it's Eternal, America the Eternal. Knox from the Eternal Cities. Our finger readers. Where is it? I think it's key items. Goodness gracious. Holy crap, there's so many frickin' items in this game. As the voice of the two fingers, finger readers live lives eternal, but the finger readers are eternal, so they're enemies of the fingers. And I don't know, you have these eternal beings fighting God, fighting the greater will. America and her people are fighting the greater will. And they're fighting the Elder Beast, and they're fighting the fingers, and they're just manipulating people who don't live forever to do their bidding. And that's just like, that's Elden Ring's story. Then you have Miquella's side. Miquella's stuff is like, let's take off the mimic mask. Miquella's stuff is like, he is, to me, he's supposed to, I think he's like, kind of like, this is his memory, this looks like a baby. This looks like a baby, okay? There's the nose right here. This is the nose, the eyebrow, the mouth. Here's the body. Here's the stomach. Here's the limbs, limb grave. Okay. This is the brain right here. And at the brain is Miquella. So if Miquella is the brain of the baby, he's this is his world. Then, in the shadow of the Erd Tree, we go into Miquella's mind. This is the depths of Miquella's mind. If you tilt this sideways, this looks like a brain. This kind of looks like the eye right here. This looks like this is the what do you call it? Like if you were looking at a diagram of an eye, this is behind the eye. So this is the world outside. Then we go behind the eye. We go into Miquella's mind. This is like the frontal cortex over here. This is the visual cortex, whatever it's called, and then this is where you go into the stone fissure, where St. Trina is. It's very dreamlike in this area, which makes sense because if we put the brain side by side, this is where dreams form. In here, in the abyss, this is where the amygdala is, and the amygdala is where fear is triggered. So we get the brain. So, to me, all of Elden Ring is essentially takes place in the memory of Miquella, literally existing in Miquella's memories. And the goal of the story, his goal for the story, is to reunite his soul with like his higher self. That it's very Eastern in its like philosophy and trauma related. Like it's. Like in I think Eastern culture, Nirvana is reaching like your inner self, like it's reaching Nirvana, your inner self. In trauma healing, it is trying to find your inner child, which is also it's a lot of the same work. It's a lot of the same work. So essentially, it's Miquella trying to ascend and get his inner child, but since Miquella is the child of Marika and Radahn are the same people, and we know that people can be reborn in these lands, I see it as Miquella is this inner child part of like the Marika Radahn soul. Whoever that is, I think, an eternal being that's passed down over and over and over again, so he could eventually be reborn at the gate of divinity as a god. And now that he's a god of this world, he can do whatever he wants. And what does he do? He makes it so it's an interesting story for us, the players outside of Elden Ring, to experience. It's very meta. I talk about the meta stuff in the Remembering Elden Ring's Neverending Story video. So if you want to look at the meta stuff, go watch that video. That's why that video is meta, because I'm trying to get the point across that stories can be meta in that way. Like Elden Ring can be a meta story because I also am doing a meta story. Crystal buds. Crystal buds. Why was that important a few episodes ago? What's the big reveal? Because these are Miquella's blood. Let's get out of here and I'll show you. See? Crystal bud. Rhymed crystal bud. Sacramental bud. Believed to originate long ago from a strain of buds cultivated with youthful sacramental blood. So, Miquella's blood. And these exist. The crystal buds are used to make items that have existed before Miquella was born. So, you know, in episode 46 of the Mimic Commentary, I go to show you that the crystal bud branches are in Shifa River. So, how is Miquella's blood making this world? How is Miquella's blood beneath the earth? And, you know, that's where the time traveling stuff comes in, too. We talk about the time traveling, I think, in Remembering Elden Ring's Never-Ending Story. We do all that Miquella time traveler stuff. It's the flash of white light thing. You know, white light is from the old God's Arsenal, but white light in Miyazaki's games represents time. So, you know, you see a flash of white light, you have to think time. You see a flash of white light at the end of Dark Souls when you link the flame. You see... Does crystal darts work on these guys? No, crystal darts do not work on these. I guess maybe there would. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the flash of light. You see it every time there's like time travel in these games. And it's confirmed in Dark Souls 3, where we learn from the repair spell that time is light and the reversal of it is a forbidden art. And then we see it actually happen in Elden Ring, where you go to Placidusax's arena and you go back in time, or you go beyond time, and it's a flash of white light. When you enter the Erd Tree, it's a flash of white light. So it's all time travel stuff. When you enter Miquella's memory, you get it's a flash of white light before you see his memory, so you see the memory is back in time. The Erd Tree, we talk about this in that video too, is made of memories. Literally, remembrances are hewn into the Erd Tree, so... The whole gist of Elden Ring is that it's a fantasy world that exists inside the mind of an eternal child who is God. You know, that's the goal. And the reason why that's a great ending, like, it's the reason why it's a great ending for Elden Ring. Like, I know dream endings are kind of like, people don't like that in media and art, because like, oh, it's just a dream, it doesn't matter. But like, what makes Elden Ring special is that you are, like, look, we're wearing the Circle of Light. This is supposed to be Miquella's crown. The circle is the foundation upon which Miquella's Age of Compassion will be built, should it ever come to pass. It's our crown now. We are now the god of this world. We have Miquella's crown. The reason why we have to defeat Miquella, the reason why he makes sure this happen, is because Miquella's not a real character, but we're real people. So the story exists for us to be able to play this game where we theorize and we guess and we use our imagination and we try to figure out what's going on and this, that, and the other thing. Like, like, I'll read more fantasy books and people will read all history and people will look for the mimics, like the trolls. These are mimics of fire giants. In Knockron, we see a silver tear turn into a perfect copy of a troll, and the dragonkin soldier has a exposed chest like the trolls do. So I think these are mimics. And the reason I think they're mimics is because I think it's fun if the Eternals had the trolls betray the giants because they were only your allies in the first place to do that betrayal. We can see here that the Knights of the Cuckoo and these Erd Tree commoners were aligned, or Erd Tree nobles were aligned, and they were trying to bring something to Limgrave, but the troll got angry, maybe because the bridge was collapsed, and he rebelled. So what were they trying to bring? The Tree Spear. Okay. We'll keep talking about Miquella in a second. Oh, I gotta go to Recent Items tab. A golden spear with tree-like design wielded by knights employed as palace guards in the royal capital of Leyndell. Oh, yeah. So the thing about this is it has Sacred Order, which is skill the Golden Order Fundamentalist Knights. Highly effective those who live in death. So we see an alliance between the Knights of the Cuckoo of the Academy. An alliance with the Erd Tree capital. And the Golden Order Fundamentalists. Because the Tree Spear comes from the Palace. And Radahn was the last Elden Lord. So we have Golden Order Fundamentalists coming from the Erd Tree with the Knights of the Cuckoo to bring a Tree Spear to Godric, to bring it to Caelid, to Radahn, to bring it to Melania, to bring it to the Bestial Sanctum, to bring it to the Weeping Peninsula, to Castle Morn. Maybe Castle Morn, probably. But why would they need the Tree Spear? Well, since it has Sacred Order, it can hurt those who live in death. So we see that the Erd Tree, the Academy, and someone in the south was not allied with those who live in death and not allied with the Sun Realm. The Knights of the Academy are not allied with the Sun Realm. Knights of the Cuckoo, but the Carians are allied with the Wraith Callers because we find them in... And they're also... We find them up here. We find the Royal Revenants here. We find a Royal Revenant in Elphael. So Elphael's... and we know Elphael's allied with the Sun Realm because of Castle Sol. These guys are allied, so Sun Realm and Miquella are an alliance. And Sun Realm also has Godwyn. Oh, actually, so why it connects, why people are like, oh, we needed Godwyn, like, oh, Miquella wanted Godwyn the whole time. I think that's another thing that people don't understand is that there's two Miquellas. And I don't mean like, the Miquella in the cocoon beneath Shifa River, but like literally there are two different Miquellas. There's Miquella before he's a god and Miquella who's after he's a god. I don't know how to explain this any better. Like, if Miquella becomes a god, and gods have the power to do whatever they want, like control the flow of time, that's why you need to use his needle outside of time, then you have two Miquellas existing at the same time. While the story is going on, you have a Miquella the god always existing since the beginning of time, because, that's what happens with gods. They get to live outside of time. And then you get Child Miquella who gets born. This is all Song of Ice and Fire. This is all Bran Stark. This is all Three-Eyed Raven, Three-Eyed Crow. This is all Blood Raven, Three-Eyed Raven. It's all George R. R. Martin stuff. Time-traveling Bran is it's confirmed. So Miquella, he becomes a time traveler, essentially. And time travel in this relates to godhood. So everything that happens within this story happens so Miquella can get where he needs to be. So Miquella needs to befriend Godwyn, and he needs to befriend Radahn, and he needs to have Radahn killed, and Mohg has to be an omen. It's all causality. The story doesn't work unless all of their pieces are in their place, including the pieces that get forgotten. Now, you don't have to know how the story works for the story to work. That's why Miquella gave us his crown. From the perspective of inside of the story, if Miquella is a god and his goal is to show us his memory, then everything that is done in Elden Ring is done because of Miquella. And because Miquella wants us to see his memory. He crafted a story so we talk about it and find interest in it. And then see his memory and play the game. That's the in-universe reason why is Miquella doing everything that he does. Because outside of universe, he's supposed to represent the inner child. The part of you that has been lost or disconnected from the rest of yourself. By being able to theorize about Elden Ring, be able to play around with these thoughts, by being able to go on the internet and play pretend with strangers and talk about what knights did what war happened when, what is the moon made of, how does this tree glow, who built all these towers, why are there giants in the ground, it's just a way to get adults to play pretend and connect with each other. That's all it is. If you're trying to find what the true answer to Elden Ring is, it's that. Or it's whatever you want it to be. Because when you look at a mimic, you're supposed to see yourself. Hope you enjoyed this episode, everybody. See you on the next one.